Mona Abdelhady from Tunan Institute. I have 3 simple questions to you. This is a part of a podcast series which will be published on our Spotify channel and probably also on the website. First question that I have, if you can give a very short introduction of yourself, what's your background, and maybe an explanation of the organization itself, the Tunan Institute, that would be great.
Thank you very much. So I'm Mona Abdelhady. I came from the Tunan Institute team in Braunschweig in Germany, and I studied economics, and I did my master's degree with a joint program in Sao Paulo University with quantitative methodologies in economics with many universities around Europe. And in particular, we are in work package 3 in the project Trade for Sustainable Development, and that's where I work in the Institute team, where I focus in this project.
You have just done a presentation in the previous session of our annual general meeting. We are in this beautiful building called Facultura. Could you actually say a few words about your presentation in the deliverable that you are working on?
Nice. So at the presentation, I presented the results of working in partial equilibrium model in agriculture, and I presented the results of greenhouse gas emissions for the EU from modeling the agri-food model. And actually, so our part in or the deliverable that we prepare to get with the project is about a report about the impact of trade policies on the global and sustainable development in particular. And in this deliverable, we will have it next year. And in the presentation, I showed the results of the greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture sector in the EU. And
in terms of the third question, we were kind of chatting in advance of this podcast, and we were talking about the potential impact of COVID or whatever, but we actually ended up that it's probably better to look into how crisis situation impact modeling or trade actually and trade policies. What's your gut feeling or about this?
So actually everything around us affects our lives, and as a sequence in the economy and the behavior of the people, and as well trade and the pattern of trade between different countries. And so if we have a crisis like the COVID or even the wars or something like that, because now it comes like crisis everywhere, sometimes it just show up and that affect the economy and the lives of ordinary people. So in our project we are trying to focus on if there is a shock, if there is something happens that changes the supply or changes the market, we are trying to study the dynamics, how that could affect. For instance, if we think about COVID or the impact of any shock that would happen to the economy, how can that affect the lives of people in developed and developing nations? And of course, to understand the relationship between the crisis and its impact, it could be very helpful to know how to deal with such crisis or what to do, what is the best the government can take to avoid the circumstance or the impact of the crisis. And I think to have a crisis is also a very good thing to use as a tool to understand the dynamics of the market, and then can give policy recommendations to the government to avoid the impact of crisis or war or anything happening into the supply.
I promised to have only 3 questions, but I always have a bonus question, 3 plus 1. And now, as you mentioned, your deliverable, you said focused on the greenhouse gas emission. Within the European Union, we have the Climate Pact and the Green Deal that was announced by Franz Timmermans. How do you think that our project, what sort of input we can provide to the implementation or maybe to the upgrade of this kind of Green Deal or maybe part of the Green Deal?
Well, to understand how the greenhouse gas emission or the dynamic of the greenhouse gas emissions in the EU is working, it can help to give policies. And actually, like if we present the greenhouse gas emission in the agriculture, we can understand this CO2 output or this specific emission comes from what, and what is the countries that produce the most, and how we can improve in the sense that we use this greenhouse gas emission in a way to have a policy that transfer this intensive of people to produce more pollution to rather improve the technology of doing the work, and that can be through tax or a price. So I think that be very quite useful, and it will be important to understand where to put the policies most, and what is the most influential impact of these policies in the market, and to get into the right direction.
So you suggest basically that our project can provide, and sorry if I misinterpret what you just said, but our project can provide input to EU policy making, but potentially also to national policy making.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, national climate and energy plans, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Thanks.